The Traxxas TRX4m is a relatively new micro RC crawler for a reasonable price from one of the biggest names in the RC industry, and as you'd expect, everybody has some pretty big expectations for these little trucks. After owning one of these myself for over 6 months, I'm going to answer the questions: does it live up to those expectations, and should you buy one? So obviously it's a mini RC crawler, so one thing that everybody expects it to do well is crawl, which overall I'd say it definitely does that, but it does also have a few minor weaknesses. The biggest one is the stock gearing. It's way too high for crawling right out of the box. I installed the low speed gearing in my truck here, which I would say is a must-have upgrade if you want to actually crawl with this thing. So obviously it's a super scale looking truck, but as a result of that, its approach and departure angles are actually pretty bad. If you're trying to climb up anything super steep, you will most likely hit on the front or back bumper depending on where you're at, if you don't hit them both. You also can't simply take off the bumpers, because in order for the clipless body mounting system to work, you need the bumpers on, because that's what the body clips onto. Besides those two things though, it performs pretty well. It's super planted, the tires aren't great, but it does have a decent amount of flex, especially for a scale vehicle, and it has an amazing center of gravity. The electronics in this truck are actually amazing, they're super smooth, and the battery that it comes with is a 750 milliamp hour 2-cell LiPo, which actually lasts forever. Like, it's kind of incredible how long this thing lasts. Another really cool thing about this truck that you don't get with many other crawlers of this size is these oil-filled shocks. They're super smooth, they make the truck look even more scale when you're driving, and they just work amazingly. There is one part specifically on this car that I don't love the design of. You can see right here and here on either drive shaft, there's that little tiny rubber ring. And that rubber ring holds in the pin that connects your drive shaft to the rest of the driveline. I've heard of a lot of people having an issue where those rubber rings just keep falling off. I haven't had it happen yet, but if you do, then you lose the pin. If your drive shaft comes off all the way, then you could lose the ring, and now you've got to buy each of those, and apparently for some people it's been happening quite frequently. And the whole time I've owned this truck, I haven't had a single part break yet, and the only things I've upgraded were those low speed gears, and I did get a light kit for it, which was just a super easy install. I am pretty glad that I haven't had to do a lot of wrenching on this truck though, because I strip out every little tiny screw that I ever touch. And obviously this is a tiny truck, so it's full of those little tiny screws that are super easy to strip out, which I don't like, but that's just kind of a part of having a mini crawler. The transmitter is just your usual Traxxas transmitter. On, off, steering, throttle, steering trim, set button, that's really it, nothing too fancy there. Traxxas do also offer a pretty wide range of upgrades and mods for these trucks, so if you were to buy one of these and you want to upgrade it a bit, you could do that using a bunch of parts just straight from Traxxas, or if you do want to go aftermarket, there's also a ton of aftermarket parts for this truck, and I'm assuming that market will just continue to grow as these trucks get more and more popular. At the end of the day, this is just a great little RC crawler to have, whether you're looking to buy your very first crawler or you just want to add one to your collection. It's a great choice, especially if you like the looks of this truck. You can get it in multiple different colors, and there's even a few more body styles now. I'll put a link in the description of this video to where you can check out all of those. If you're trying to decide if you want to buy a TRX4m over the competition, something like this SCX24 here, you can check out this video right here, which compares these two trucks in great detail. And if you want to see more videos about this Bronco specifically, you can click right here for a full playlist about that, and I'll see you over there.